Alright, Shalom, giving all praises, honors, and glories unto Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that told me his truth. That rule well. Shalom to the elect scattered through the four corners of the earth. My name is Kodash Paya, and I just want to play this video real quick before I start. Right? No, this ain't it. Slakia. This is it right here.
All new Chevy Equinox starting at under $30,000.
Let the commercial pass real quick. As y'all read on the headlines, which we're gonna get, cause it's prophetic, man. All right.
In 3 days, the President and I will lead the most solemn occasion in our nation, Memorial Day at Arlington Cemetery. You'll learn, as I have, that when people say things like Happy Memorial Day, you appreciate the sentiment behind it, but you know that it's wrong. Because Memorial Day is not a happy day. And Memorial Day is not for those who served and came home. It is for those who served and didn't.
And you know what? It says defense.
Introducing the all-new Chevy Equinox starting at under $30,000.
Slakia. Issues new warning. Era of uncontested U.S. dominance is over. Right? It says during his commencement speech at the Naval Academy on Friday, due to the memorial BS, right? But it says yada 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 in New York, in the approach to the foreign policy embraced by the Trump administration, the perspective of Vice and President Trump, Donald Trump, could have major implications for the United States foreign policy over the next 4 years and potentially beyond, as the perspective could reshape the Republican Party approach to global affairs. Alright. Well, the headline, I'm not going to go too into it, but they're going into the shift of policies. He said that the U.S. was, that's the key word, was a superpower without any peer for a brief time following the collapse of the Soviet Union, but the global stage has since changed. And anyway, you get the point, right? The U.S. dominance is no more, and the world is seeing that. You know, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, John the Revelator, Esdras, they all saw the visions of Babylon the Great, which is referred to as America, and they saw the downfall. They referred to the lake of fire being in this region of the world, right? And how these other superpowers of the world, these kings of the earth right now, is going against her, you know, roundabout, right? For that great and day of you know, World War III, the Armageddon. I'm a God one in the Middle East, in the Hebrew meaning a mountain of troops. That's what the Lord is doing right now. He's setting up all these troops, you know, to be prepared for that battle. But, and then you have articles like, you know, the Palestinians about to put their flag up on a where the World Health Organization's at, and you see the conflict with Israel. You know, one of the politicians was saying recently how the whole world don't trust the U.S. no more, except for those in Israel. You know? So I want to get this real quick. In the book of Isaiah 14, and Wow. I wasn't planning on getting this, but the point is at 16 on down. We'll get it. Because remember, the Lord said pride cometh before destruction, and this place has been living for these elites. You know, the earth is, as it tells you in Job, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Their pride they've been living with pride for too long now. Well, short period of time, but it's still been, you know, this is one of the greatest of pride. Pride is the most proudful so-called kingdom. But it says, because it's a reincarnation of Rome, Greece, ancient Babylon, you know. Those spirits are here today, right? Ancient Egypt. But anyway, it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Meaning the light, Lucifer just means light bearer, right? Not talking about the actual spirit, the demon spirit Satan. It's referring to as these elites. They so-called Illuminati, the light bearers, they got the wisdom, they got, you know, whatever the Lord allowed them to have now, till it gets snatched away. But also it says, how art thou fallen from heaven? Meaning they're about to fall from their rulership. Right? Son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? How? Through their philosophies, through their lies, through their agendas, through their treaties, so on and so forth. It says, I will exalt, for thou hast said in thine heart, meaning in their mind, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Through what? Their technology, you know, their space force, their weaponry, you know, with them using their army tactics against the world, and their witchcraft and sorcery through their technology. You know, so they try to be like the Most High, omnipotent, omnipresent. You know, and soon they're gonna try to do it completely using that digital device. But anyway, it says, I will ascend. It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee, his appoint, shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? So the world is looking at them like, is this the family? Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Bilderbergs, these federal, you know, royal families, these these banking families, you know, these elites that's been controlling the stages of the globe for quite some time, and you've seen their allies leaving them, this place. But the whole world is looking like, yo, are these the people that really was controlling us, controlling our land, our resources, our people, you know? But it says, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners, all the kings of the nations, even all of them lie in glory forever, one in his own house, you know? So, hey man, let's get another one real quick. Lived. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18. Matter of fact, let's start at 5. It says, Revelation 18:5, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Right? Because the majority of so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, which are the biblical Israelites, are mainly, well, the majority is in America. Babylon the Great. You know? Right? So the Lord remembered her iniquities. You know, because we still in slavery. We still, you know, the Lord, these people, these elites, these heathens, have touched the apple of the Lord's eye. And even is going to try to come down against certain men of the Lord That's when the Lord is going to intervene during the time of that, hour of temptation. But the Lord is using these other nations, to look down on this place, to expose this place. You're seeing what China was doing due to these tariffs. This place has become a laughing stock to the world. And that's why the scripture say, let the weak say I am strong. Because you got the weaker nations that was once allies, leaving to these other superpowers like Russia, China, Iran, so on and so forth. But it says, reward her even as she rewarded you, right? And double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she had filled to her double, how much she had glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her, right? Because it says she said in her heart, I sit as a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. So this place, that's what they're saying. Oh, who's going to destroy us? Who's going to bring us down? We ain't going to see no sorrow. Just like how the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, until he destroyed him. Little by little by little from the inside out. People didn't think Rome was going to fall. Right, with all the Caesars. 'Cause some of the Caesars were Jake. But they were Romans. They were Edomites. Esau, and the scripture say we shall war with Amalek for generations, which is the grandson of Esau. You got a lot of them Amalekites, right, over there in Israel right now. Imposters. So, there you go. I just wanted to bring this out. To hit a quitter real quick on this. There's many more scriptures that we could get, but I just wanted to, bring this out real quick. Hopefully it was edifying, because this place is on her last leg. She's on her last leg, man. They're about to penetrate this whore. Through a way of the missiles. Because now look at, they trying to build the Iron Dome, because you got a golden dome, but you have an Iron Dome over there in Israel, which has been deflecting, missiles, which now they want to build one over here called a golden dome, which, listen, the scriptures say the Lord's arrow shall not miss, which is these missiles. They got missiles now that's able to penetrate through it, even with the bunkers. You got missiles called bunker busters. So there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. And these other nations, man, they seeing that this is not the big bad bully no more. So I say, let the weak say I'm strong. So now they flexing, military might, parading their, weaponry. Because we in that time. We Amos 9, but anyway, with that, till next time, I'm going to say shalom.